the station working for you. This is WRTV News at 11, streaming now.
More money, less power. Tonight, the City County Council is voting on two major measures related to IMPD just one day after Indianapolis surpassed a grim homicide milestone amid a violent weekend. We have team coverage tonight on how those measures will impact the department and the community. We start with WRTV's Cameron Riddle live at the City County building in downtown Indianapolis. Cameron.
Amanda, good evening. It is 11:02, and inside those doors, the City County Council is still going strong tonight, voting on two major proposals, one that will add more money to the Indianapolis city budget, the other that may restrict some power from the Indianapolis police chief. The first one that's been voted on just in the past 15 minutes was Proposition 235. That is the next Indianapolis City County budget, which now gives a pay raise to the Indianapolis Police Department. There will be no defunding of police here in Indianapolis, Marion County. The budget, which was sent over by the mayor earlier this fall, does call for $7 million of more funding to go to the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department. That will be a total of $261 million for the city's police department, or $291 million when you add on the pension fund. We talked to some of the grassroots groups and leaders that we have met over the past 6 months through the protests throughout downtown Indianapolis. One of them, Matt Davis with the Indiana Racial Justice Alliance, and he said he is at minimum disappointed in tonight's vote for more funding for IMPD.
It's really a shame and a slap in the face to community members who are, and advocates and organizers who are demanding for an appropriate percentage of IMPD and public safety to be moved into needed areas.
Now, Matt Davis is one of the people who we've talked to over the past couple of months. He and his organization is not trying to totally defund IMPD. They wanted some of that money to be taken away from the police department and then be given to services that could help, such as in mental health calls. Again, that has now passed. There is no defunding of police here in Indianapolis. As I said, it is after 11 o'clock, and we are live still here in the City County building because there is voting going on. Reporting live tonight, I'm Cameron Riddle, WRTV. Amanda, much more still happening inside right now.
All right, thank you, Cameron. And the City County Council is also voting right now on a measure that supporters say will increase oversight and transparency for the Metropolitan Police Department. A majority of the council has already signed on as co-sponsors of the proposal, but the debate continues. WRTV's Cornelius Hawker continues our team coverage from the City County building.
Those for and against Proposal 237 gathered Monday night outside of the City County Council chambers. Proposal 237 would add more community member input to the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department's policies and procedures. 4 citizens would be added to IMPD's General Orders Committee, giving them a majority on the 7-person board. Those in favor say it's a welcome change to how things are being done now.
It allows there to be an added layer of accountability for the police department.
We need people who are going to hold them accountable and who are going to demand and insist and press on transparency until it happens.
But the crowd in blue shirts are not happy with this proposal.
This whole proposition needs to be done away with. This whole thing is just a step in the wrong direction. The part that offends us the most is the fact that people who are a part of a police family are not allowed to be on this committee.
Many of those who oppose it say there's already input by the community regarding the police department.
When it comes to the chief of police, we already have civilian input on that. That's through our elected officials, through the executive branch. So the mayor of Indianapolis has that ability to select a chief of police once he or she is in office, and that also gets reviewed by the City County Council.
But still, others feel like there needs to be more oversight of IMPD.
There are so many things and so many questions that we have surrounding what a review board looks like that the public does not have input in, that it's time for us to have additional input in this.
Working for you, Cornelius Hawker, WRTV.
Civilian members of the General Orders Board will be chosen by the mayor and the council. An amendment added to the proposal says residents with a felony conviction cannot serve on the board. Civilians will have to complete the Citizens Police Academy plus additional training from IMPD on things like use of force. Before tonight's vote, Chief Randall Taylor told WRTV while he has concerns, he'll work with whoever those civilians are to make sure they are as knowledgeable as possible. And tonight's council vote comes after at least 7 homicides in the city over the weekend, bringing the total this year to 160 intentional homicides. That is one more than the most ever in the city, and there are still nearly 3 months left in 2020. Tomorrow, Mayor Joe Hogsett and Chief Taylor will discuss their response to the violence. We spoke to the chief about that issue today.
This has been very difficult, not only here in Indianapolis, but other major cities across the country are dealing with dramatic increases in their numbers as well. So, whether we say it's COVID related or a combination of COVID and other systemic issues, I think those are at play. But as you know, those are not things that the police department has a whole lot of control over.
Chief Taylor and Mayor Hogsett will speak at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Look for coverage on our website, WRTV.com, and the news starting at 5. And now to the forecast. Rain has moved on, but chilly temperatures are sticking around. WRTV Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory joins us now, helping you prepare for the day ahead. And Kevin, you saw what I wore walking back into the station tonight.
Yeah, a lot of people wearing a coat after about 6 o'clock. So between 5 and 6, we dropped from 72 to 57 as the rain fell. This looks like no big deal, but it's our second biggest rain in the last 55 days. After the rain, some spectacular views of the western horizon. This is out in Putnam County, stunning there as well. We'll show you a little time lapse of that during the main weather. 51 in Kokomo and Indianapolis, about ready to lead the way into the 40s. Tomorrow, temperatures rebound with the help of sunshine. It won't be as windy. We had wind gusts 30 to 40 at times today. During the day tomorrow, up to 70 degrees with lots of sunshine. There's still a lot to talk about. Some big temperature swings ahead and another opportunity for rain.
Now to the latest on the toll the pandemic is taking on Hoosier lives. 1,581 new positive cases of COVID-19 were reported over the weekend, according to the State Department of Health. 1,238 COVID patients were in the hospital statewide as of yesterday. And the 7-day positivity rate among unique individuals was 9.4% from September 29th through October 5th. And those rising numbers come about 2.5 weeks since Indiana entered stage 5 of the state's Back on Track plan. Experts say the reopening and loosening of restrictions does not mean Hoosiers should relax when it comes to social distancing or masking up.
We still need to practice social distancing and should be masking, and we need to make sure that we're taking care of each other because otherwise the hospitals could get overrun this winter.
The State Department of Health says it's providing more than $30 million in funding to increase access to COVID testing over the next 2 years. And when it comes to the impact of the pandemic on livelihoods, up to 250,000 people in Indiana are at risk of being evicted right now, according to a new study. 150,000 evictions are expected to be filed by January. That's despite a national moratorium on evictions. Patrick Vick is at risk of being evicted. He lost his tech support job at a software company when businesses first shut down in March, leaving him with no income and no way to pay his rent. After Indiana's statewide moratorium on evictions ended in August, the CDC issued a federal moratorium effective September 4th. In order to be eligible, you must use best efforts to obtain all available government assistance for rent or housing. Earn no more than $99,000 a year. Be unable to pay rent due to substantial loss of income or hours of work. And use best efforts to make partial payments. Vic, seemingly meeting all the criteria, emailed his landlord this information, but they still move forward with evicting him.
I literally don't have anywhere to go at the moment. I don't know what people do in that situation. I know that there's 300,000 Hoosiers that are in the same situation, 40 million Americans. And so the fact that we're all about to crash out of the economy and be homeless is mind-boggling to me.
After reaching out to us, we put Vic in touch with the Neighborhood Christian Legal Clinic. It's a free clinic that anyone can utilize. With their help, he was able to avoid eviction through the end of the year. You can connect with the clinic at nclegalclinic.org. And the pandemic continues to dominate the campaign trail. ABC's Marcy Gonzalez takes us to Florida, where President Trump held a rally tonight.
President Trump back on the campaign trail for the first time since being diagnosed with COVID-19, holding a rally in the key state of Florida before a packed, mostly maskless crowd. Just 1 week after the president was released from the hospital, his doctor says he's tested negative on consecutive days, concluding he is not infectious to others. The president going even further.
I went through it. Now they say I'm immune. I feel so powerful. I'll walk into that audience. I'll walk in there. I'll kiss everyone in that audience. I'll kiss the guys and the beautiful women and everybody.
But medical experts say immunity is not well understood, and it's unclear how long it lasts. A 25-year-old man in Nevada who tested positive for COVID-19 was reinfected just 48 days after being diagnosed with a different strain of the coronavirus. Joe Biden campaigning in Ohio, calling the president's behavior irresponsible.
His reckless personal conduct since his diagnosis has been unconscionable.
In more than half the country, the number of COVID cases on the rise. 14 states hitting a record number of hospitalizations this week.
When you look at what's going on in the United States, it's really very troublesome.
All this as a new study suggests that COVID may be able to survive on surfaces for up to 28 days. The virus able to stay on non-porous surfaces like glass, stainless steel, vinyl, and paper. But the actual amount of virus found was quite small, and it would be unlikely to cause infection. Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News, Los Angeles.
In-person early voting in Indiana continues through November 2nd, the day before Election Day. It just started 1 week ago, but thousands of Hoosiers have already cast their ballots. In Marion County alone, the clerk's office says 8,328 people have voted early through yesterday. Around 5,500 people voted during that same time period in 2016. For a list of early voting sites, dates, and times in your county, go to the Vote in 2020 digital section of our website, WRTV.com. Coming up, the future of the Supreme Court could be decided in the coming days and weeks. What lawmakers want you to know as the confirmation hearings for Amy Coney Barrett get underway. And the city of Indianapolis is making a new investment to help get fresh and healthy food to neighbors in need.
From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 11, streaming now.
Welcome back. Another influential figure with Hoosier ties will soon loom large over downtown Indianapolis. Work is underway on a mural of Eva Moses Core on the south wall of the 500 Festival Building on Virginia Avenue. Core, a Holocaust survivor and forgiveness advocate, lived in Terre Haute for 59 years. She died last year at the age of 85. The mural is expected to be finished by the end of next month. Amy Coney Barrett will take questions from lawmakers tomorrow on the second day of hearings to confirm her to the nation's highest court. ABC's Faith Abube has a recap of day one and a look at what's ahead.
While protesters clashed outside, inside the U.S. Capitol, Judge Amy Coney Barrett sat quietly as Republicans and Democrats also clashed over her nomination to the U.S. Supreme Court.
My Democratic colleagues will say this has never been done, and they're right in this regard. Nobody's, I think, has ever been confirmed in an election year past July.
This isn't Donald Trump's country. It is yours. This shouldn't be Donald Trump's judge. It should be yours.
Senate Democrats quickly turning the confirmation hearing into a fight to save the Affordable Care Act.
Stripping health care from millions of Americans during a pandemic, that's really what is at stake.
They're scared, Judge Barrett. They're scared that your confirmation would rip from them the very health care protections.
If Barrett is confirmed, she would tilt the ideological balance of the court to a conservative majority. One of her first cases could affect millions who stand to lose coverage if the Affordable Care Act on the court's docket a week after the November election is struck down.
By replacing Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg
with someone who will undo her legacy. President Trump is attempting to roll back Americans' rights for decades to come.
Republicans firing back.
Our Democratic colleagues want you to guarantee a result in a case as a quid pro quo for your confirmation. It's outrageous.
The nominee herself finally weighing in during her opening remarks.
A judge must apply the law as it is written, not as she wishes it were.
And today's 5-hour hearing wrapped up with no questions for Judge Barrett. Senators will start grilling her tomorrow. Faith Abube, ABC News, Washington.
And you can watch the Amy Coney Barrett confirmation hearings on the WRTV app and on streaming devices like Roku, Fire Stick, and Apple TV. Community Hospital East is offering free flu shots this week. Vaccinations will be available on a first-come, first-served basis in the main lobby of the hospital on North Ritter Avenue from 10 to 3 tomorrow through Friday. You must be 18 or older and masks are required. Health officials stress that getting a flu shot is even more important this year to avoid a twindemic of COVID and seasonal flu. If you run a community garden, farm stand, or something similar that helps feed neighbors in need, you could be eligible for financial help. A new grant program called the Indie Food Fund will offer between $500 and $10,000. The deadline to apply is Friday, October 30th. For a link to the application and a list of requirements, go to WRTV.com and click on this story. Well, if you missed tonight's beautiful sunset, come take a look at your TV. Here's a time lapse of it from our tower camera. Kevin, it was just beautiful tonight, and it came after some much needed rain.
It was such a stark contrast, right? That extreme clearing line between the rain and the clear skies off to the west just around sunset. You mentioned the much needed rain, 19/100ths of an inch, that in Muncie. That was one of the heavier rainfall totals. We'll take it and move on. There's another opportunity for rain on Thursday. Temperatures, they're in the 40s in western Indiana. Skies are clearing. The wind calming down. Temperature 45 in Terre Haute, 48 in Lafayette. Eastern portion of the state, still a little more cloud cover, but you too will have temperatures in the 40s in the morning. Tomorrow and Wednesday, the warmer it feels, especially Wednesday, the more shocking Thursday, Friday, and Saturday will be, because temperatures will go from mid-70s, if not a little warmer south of Indy, and then fall into the 50s for highs and stay there, and we'll have 30s for morning lows coming up. Tomorrow, lots of sunshine, a different day than today, 71. Temperatures are warmest for the entire 7-day forecast on Wednesday at 75. It turns windy then, and the change Thursday, some showers along another cold front. It will be a strong cold front that keeps our temperatures in the 50s for afternoon highs. During the day tomorrow, 62 by noon. It will be cool to start the day. Afternoon temperatures slightly above average for this time of year. During the day tomorrow, not as windy as today. Southwest wind about 10 to 15 miles per hour. 71 the magic number in Indianapolis, a little warmer to the south. The wind really kicks up on Wednesday. That will drag warmer air into central Indiana, warmest of the week, but may have some 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Temperature 75 with a mixture of clouds and sunshine right in the middle of the week. Temperatures are warmest to the southwest, a little cooler to the north and east, but everybody above average. We'll hope for 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little more in a few spots. Thursday into Friday, that's when we transition back to much cooler temperatures, and we'll hold on to that cooler air. Thursday's high temperature will stay in the 50s. We'll start in the 50s in the morning and then just not really warm up during the day Thursday. Dry again Friday and Saturday. Temperatures Sunday and Monday right around 60. So we got 2 more opportunities for rain Thursday and then again on next Monday. We'll be back with more news right after this.
From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 11, streaming now.
The baseball world is mourning the death of another Hall of Famer. Reds icon Joe Morgan died Sunday at his home in California at the age of 77. The second baseman was a key part of Cincinnati's lineup in the 1970s, known as the Big Red Machine. He also enjoyed a successful broadcast career after his playing days. Right now, it's unclear if there will be a public memorial. Now to football. The Colts will be looking to get back on track at home Sunday against the Bengals. WRTV's Brad Brown reports there are many questions tonight after yesterday's frustrating loss.
Over the course of a typical NFL game, there are usually just a small handful of plays out of maybe more than 100 that decide the outcome. Such was the case Sunday for the Colts in Cleveland.
Rivers steps up and throws. It's picked. Intercepted.
Couldn't overcome it. We just weren't good enough today. I mean, I don't really have a lot of words to describe explain it other than weren't good enough. And so those things happen, and you regroup and go on to the next one.
Phillip Rivers picked 6 to Ronnie Harrison in the third quarter, gave the Browns their biggest lead of the game. At the start of the fourth quarter, Rivers got called for intentional grounding in the end zone. That safety would ultimately make the rest of the game an uphill climb for the Colts.
I wish maybe I'd have stepped up and tried to buy a little more time. But when you're in your own end zone, you don't, not as comfortable doing that. But obviously a tough play all the way around.
We had a play that we really liked, and I got a little too aggressive with the call. Normally with that field position, 8 out of 10 times I'm probably not making that call.
The offense as a whole continues to be a bit of a head-scratcher. Through the first 5 weeks, they've scored just 9 touchdowns and 15 field goals. If it weren't for kicker Rodrigo Blankenship, Indy would be dead last in the league in points scored.
Now we came out a little flat in the second half. I mean, what we had on 3 possessions in the first half. So, I mean, we just came out just a little flat. Then the defense picked it up, and then we didn't match their energy. So that was on us. We just got to be better. Go back to the drawing board and just get better.
Not executing in the red zone has been such a, kind of a burden for us right now. Not going down there and getting, 6 is hurting us. So that's obviously an emphasis where we need to get better at.
The Colts defense had been the standout crew of the opening month, led the league in yards and points against. But Cleveland sliced and diced their way to more than all of those numbers in just the first half. 385 yards on the day, often making it look easy.
Again, we fought. I think we don't want any moral victories, but, see us fight and, guys not waver. I love that. We didn't flinch at all. They're making great catches and everything like that, but we didn't waver. We didn't flinch. We come back in the second half. We make some huge stops.
I mean, our defense played lights out in the second half to keep us in it and to give us a chance. So hats off to how we played defensively in the second half, and then we just couldn't quite make enough plays on offense to stay in it.
Next up, the Colts host the Bengals. Cincinnati has just 1 win in their first 5 games, but don't count on it being anything easy. The Colts will get what already feels like a much-needed bye week after that one. Brad Brown, WRTV Sports.
A new source of water for people across central Indiana is set to begin operations in the spring. Today, Citizens Energy Group shared a sneak peek of the Citizens Reservoir on Oleo Road in Fishers. President and CEO Jeffrey Harrison says the 3 billion gallon reservoir will fulfill growing demand and create a more resilient water supply.
This reservoir will provide some 30 million gallons per day and really insulate our 8-county service area from droughts, and then provide water for what we're seeing as tremendous growth over the next few decades.
Citizens says this is the largest new reservoir in central Indiana in almost 60 years. It's set to be filled with water in the spring.
We're certainly not filling it up so far here in the last couple months with the rain. Sunshine returns in the morning. Excuse me, don't be caught off guard. When you get up, it'll be quite cool. Temperature 43 at 8 a.m., 62 by the time we get to noon. We'll manage 70 for the high tomorrow with sunshine.
That's
Amanda?
chilly compared to what we're used to, Kevin. Thanks for making WRTV your choice for news. Good Morning Indiana starts at 4:30. Good night.